Hello, everyone. We're going to get started in a couple minutes. If you could find your seats. Before we begin, I have a few public service announcements. For an emergency, please note the exits on either side of the chambers and proceed down the stairs. Bathrooms are located out the door to my left, women's room to the right, men's to the left. We allow 30 minutes for public speaking. If you have not done so, please sign up at the podium. Zoom speakers are only permitted if you signed up by emailing the city clerk by 11 a.m. today. If you did sign up, you must turn on your camera so we could see you as you address the council. Please note that the council has rules of decorum for our meetings, including the public speaking portion. We ask that respect be shown to all, whether they serve on the council, on the staff, or are here as public members. As noted on the signage, we do not allow weapons of any sort, signs mounted on wood, metal, or similar material, or signs larger than 19 by 24. If you have an appropriately sized sign, you cannot raise it in the air, just keep it on your lap, like that. Thank you. If you haven't, so that it won't affect anybody's line of sight. This will help ensure we comply with the open meeting law. Not only are we here tonight to listen to the public's voices, but we are also here to conduct government proceedings. To best serve us all, we cannot have any distractions. When a speaker is addressing the council, no disruptions are permitted. This includes talking over, yelling, clapping, and snapping. When this body proceeds with the day's business, we also need no disruptions. As per Open Meeting Law, Section 103, interruption of a speaker or government proceedings will not be tolerated. After one more warning, anyone interrupting today's meeting will be removed from chambers. I am now calling this Common Council meeting to order at 7:38 p.m. on February 3rd, 2026. If you are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. We would like to extend the moment of silence in memory of Alex Preddy and Renee Good. Thank you. You may be seated. May I please have roll call?
Alderman Pasty. Alderman Tierney.
Here.
Alderman Marbelli. Alderman Falk.
Here.
Alderman Mickens. Here. Alderman Dennison.
Here.
Alderman Ham.
Here.
Alderman Katz.
Here.
Alderman Hirsch.
Here. We have a quorum. Can I have a motion to dispense with the minutes of the previous meeting and approve same? Motion by Terrell Mickens, second by Sarah Pasty. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is adopted 9-0. Can I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the general bills? Motion by Sarah Pasty, second by Terrell Mickens. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is adopted 9-0. As council members, we get the pleasure to meet folks from throughout the city and from all walks of life. Throughout our service on the council, we meet community members who genuinely move us with their kindness and efforts to improve our community. Tonight, we recognize and honor an individual who has gone above and beyond to serve and help others with the Common Council Community Award. We are delighted to present Peter Criswell with the award this month. He was selected by Alderwoman Terrell Mickens, and at this time, I invite Peter to join Terrell at the podium.
Can you hear me? So good evening. Muhammad Ali once said, "Service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth." And tonight it gives me great pleasure to present the City of Kingston Council Community Award to someone who has truly paid that rent many times over. Louder, sorry. Should I start again?
I'm sorry, the mic
You
is
okay?
on, right? I think you just need
The
to be
mic
closer.
is on,
Okay.
yes. And tonight it gives me great pleasure to present the City of Kingston Council Community Award to someone who has truly paid that rent, Peter Criswell. If Kingston were a person, she'd be Peter Criswell. He's intelligent, passionate, clever, funny, welcoming, scrappy, talented, and deeply creative. And it's because of his service, at least in part, that Kingston is the place that so many of us are proud to call home. I've known Peter for more than 10 years, though neither of us can say exactly when we first met. What I do remember is showing up to a small get-together at Peter's house. I think it was on Wall Street. I was invited by a mutual friend. I remember feeling immediately welcomed and very quickly charmed by Peter's wit and hospitality. That really is who Peter is. He opens doors, he brings people together, and he makes room. Fast forward a few years, I think it was 2019, I had the pleasure of working with Peter while he served as executive director of the Hudson Valley LGBTQ Community Center, where I saw firsthand his deep devotion to our community. During that time, I watched him guide the organization through the challenges of the COVID pandemic, making sure that all people, young people, seniors, families, and LGBTQ allies stayed connected, and that people continued to receive the vital services and much needed mental health support that they needed. Even in the hardest moment, Peter found ways to keep people together. Everyone who knows Peter knows he's a little like the movie Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Honestly, it's like he has a twin. Peter has also been a dedicated and compassionate advocate for the mental health and substance abuse, support. He's co-sponsored the legislation that created the Crisis Support Center on Broadway, a place that now offers immediate care, help, and hope to people in our community when they need it the most. He also worked to expand Ulster County's human rights law to include gender expression as a protected class, also known as the Drag is Not a Crime Act, which ensures that everyone, no matter how they express their gender identity, is treated with dignity and protected under the law. Peter's love for the arts has left a lasting mark as well. During his 6 years as Kingston's Art Commission, he helped bring to life the position of Director of Arts and Cultural Affairs and played a key role in shaping the city's arts and culture plan. Later helping advance arts and culture planning across the county. And beyond titles and committees, Peter gives his time generously. From the Snowflake Festival and the O Positive Festival to performing with Key of Q, Kingston's LGBTQ and allied a cappella singers. He shows up again and again. Peter, your work shows us what community really looks like: care, creativity, fairness, and connection. Because of you, Kingston is a more inclusive, more vibrant, and more compassionate place. Thank you for all you've given and the example you continue to set. It is truly an honor to present you with the City of Kingston Council Community Award. Oh, thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. First, thank you, Terrell, for that really incredibly generous introduction and for nominating me. It means a great deal coming from you. Thank you. When I moved to Kingston, it was very intentional. I was drawn by the energy of the city, the arts, the trail system and access to nature, and the real diversity of this community. I was especially struck by the fact that there was a strong, visible LGBTQ+ community center right on Wall Street. Kingston felt like a place where I could build a home and be part of something that was larger than myself. Not long after I arrived, I participated in the Day One walk across the city. And somewhere along that route, the then chair of the City Democratic Committee asked me if I would consider running for a county legislative seat. So I went home, did my homework, decided it was something I could do, and committed to it. I was lucky enough to win that race, and I've now had the honor of serving 4 terms and I'm running for a fifth. Serving in public office has been one of the greatest privileges of my life. It's given me a deeper appreciation of how government can work at its best when it's collaborative, when it's grounded in respect, and when it's focused on the people we serve. I want to thank every member of this council, many of whom I've known and worked alongside for years, for your service and for the hard and often thankless work that you do every day that keeps Kingston the safe, vibrant, and welcoming community that drew me here in the first place. I am truly grateful for this recognition. It means more to me than I can say, and it's an honor to serve this community and to serve alongside all of you. Thank you.
We now enter into the public speaking portion of the meeting. We have allotted 30 minutes for this purpose. Speakers will have 3 minutes. Please be aware that I give a 30-second verbal warning. If there are remaining speakers after 30 minutes, I will call for a motion from the council to extend the period for another 30 minutes. Speakers, direct your comments to the chair, as council members cannot engage in debate during this time. Please state your name and your ward number, which is a change in our rules. And if you do not live in the city of Kingston, please say your name and your municipality where you live. There could be no distractions from the audience in chambers when a speaker addresses the council. The Common Council has also received written comments for our consideration, and they could be found on the city's website under tonight's agenda. May I have the first speaker, please?
Joseph DeFalco.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm here to talk about a botched up paving job that they did up on Glen Street. I communicated with the city and sent them letters to all the parties to be informed that I wish they would come up and fix their mistakes. I was advised legally not to do anything until give them enough time to rectify that. Well, I never got one phone call. Willing to show them videos, photographs, and evidence of what botched up job they did. Now, there's a $2 million storm system up there, which was designed by the city engineer, Ralph Swanson, a decade ago, which does not take one drop of water after their paving job. All the water now dumps onto people's property. This engineered sewer line, storm system, was engineered to protect the homeowners on Glen Street. It is unacceptable that the city did not react to any of this. Phone calls. In fact, no supervisor showed up until the paving was done. Now, your DPW supervisor, Ed Norton, was aware that that road pitched 5 degrees to that storm system. I know this because I have institutional knowledge, spending 40 years working for Yonkers Contracting on site jobs. I know more than some of the engineers. They didn't even know there was a 36-inch pipe under the ground across the street. They didn't even know anything about hydraulic connectivity. They just came in and put 18 inches of asphalt down on the road. Unacceptable. Unacceptable that you don't hear if you offer to show them the evidence of their mistakes and they don't respond. And I see I have 30 seconds left. Let me tell you, I have 30 seconds left. Okay. And there's so much to cover. There's not enough time to cover. I hope my alderman will pick up the gauntlet and fight for us on Glen Street, because that's one big problem. Disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful that they don't respond to your communications. Letters, I have records of phone calls and letters.
Thank you. Your time is
I
up.
don't have to respond to
Thank
you. I
you.
get the answer
Your
from that,
time is
the
up, Joe.
DPW.
Thank you.
I don't have to respond to you.
Next speaker, please.
June Neiman.
What an act to follow. Hello, everyone. My name is June Neiman. I work here in Kingston as a tenant organizer, but live in Poughkeepsie. Can you not hear me? Okay. I want to thank the council tonight for voting on the resolution requesting that the city drop the lawsuit against the state in the matter of Stony Run. I think because many of you are new to council or were not on council at the time in 2023 when this whole matter began, I'd like to just do a little bit of a review of what has occurred to get us to this point. So I think to start, the tenants of Stony Run organized a tenant union in 2022 and led the fight to win the 15% rent reduction. Shortly after that happened, the mayor struck a backroom deal with the landlords at Stony Run to create a workforce housing agreement, creating a nonprofit that managed the building, but that was also owned by the landlords. Many of the tenants, at the time we were asking a lot of questions about how is this legal? This sort of feels like it's going outside of the bounds of state law. But unfortunately, at the time, everyone on council voted for it except for Councilmember Hirsch. So afterwards, the mayor sat down in this room right over here with the Stony Run Tenants Union and went through a couple of promises that he wanted to make to the tenants about how the deal would actually work for them. So specifically, he promised that the building would remain rent stabilized, that there'd be a board of tenants that'd be able to request and get certain demands met, and that they would get financials from the landlords on a regular basis. And of course, that the money that the landlords were able to get from the federal government as part of this agreement would be used towards maintenance. Shortly after that, each available apartment became deregulated, which is illegal under state rent stabilization law, and each new tenant was being charged about 50% higher rents. They, on average, went from about $1,200 to $1,800 a month. Now, this incentivized the landlords to not do maintenance, right? Because if people leave, you actually make more money from the tenants who are moving in. And so all of the money that they received, the $35 million that they received from the federal government as a result of this regulatory agreement, ended up going to refinance their loans instead of to the necessary repairs of the building. So earlier this year, the landlords claimed that because they had a nonprofit that managed the building, it was therefore a charity. And this is what led to the whole situation that we find ourselves in now.
30
You all,
seconds.
or this council, voted last year to request that the state reject this attempt. But instead of going along with that, the mayor decided to side with the landlords in the situation. And once the state sided with tenants, the mayor decided to sue the state. And the specific claims that he has made are that this would prevent the city from entering into other affordability agreements. And I just think it's worth noting that is untrue. It would only affect other rent stabilized buildings. And so while he stood in this room about earlier this month
Thank
and,
you.
and
Your
claimed
time is up,
that he
June.
would cover, he's fighting for rent stabilization,
Thank
he's also
you.
trying to deregulate the same buildings. Thank you so much.
Next speaker, please.
Raquel Gonzalez.
Good evening. My name is Raquel. I'm in Ward 1. I'm here today to, first of all, I want to thank you guys for always listening to us, for always representing us and the needs of Kingston versus Steve Noble and what he's trying to do to his constituents, to the people of Kingston that voted for him, thinking that he was going to make our lives better. I live in Stony Run, and from the beginning of me, even before I even signed a lease, Stony Run has been just price gouging me. Today I brought in a document showing that to just accept my application, I had to pay $520. This is my second application because my first one had my Social Security because I'm disabled. They denied it. And the lady told me before they keep my $520 to just submit an old pay stub. So I did. And when I did that, the price went up. I'm really asking for help. I don't want to be homeless. Been there, done that, don't want to do it again. And I'm actually putting my health on hold because of this. I just want to say thank you for listening to me, and I hope that the mayor listens to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Ramona Catalano.
All right. This is not my forte, but I'm going to hopefully take my time and communicate something that I'm very passionate about.
If you could just talk right into the microphone and help
Okay,
us hear.
like this?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, I'm here to talk about the City of Kingston's Accessory Dwelling Unit Initiative. The city has presented this program as a sorry, you know what? That helps. The city has presented this program as part of its response to a housing shortage. It is important that public money and public trust go towards approaches that actually lead to legally livable housing. Right now, the Department of Housing is encouraging homeowners to build accessory dwelling units as a way to increase housing supply. The city offers guidance and even pre-approved architectural plans. But what is missing is the real coordination with the agency that ultimately decides where these units can be lived in, the New York State Building Department. In practice, the advice and plans being promoted by the city often don't line up with what the building department will actually approve. I will use a real-life situation as an example of what I mean. If the owner of a 2-unit building wants to convert an attached garage into an ADU, the building department would The building department would then reclassify the entire structure as a 3-family dwelling. That change doesn't just affect the new unit, it triggers a whole new set of building code requirements for the entire structure. Like different windows, different window requirements, a sprinkler system would have to be installed, as would fire separation walls. There are different ceiling height requirements, as well as other major safety and structural requirements. In real terms, that means the seemingly simple garage conversion can turn into a full-scale building-wide renovation. For most homeowners, that's simply not realistic. It isn't a hypothetical concern. It's already showing up in the city's own data. Bartek Starodaj provided me with a list of every
30
ADU
seconds.
approved by the city hall. Oh, I hope you let me finish. This is important. According to that list, there have been only 15 approvals so far. Of those 15, only 1 has received a certificate of occupancy from the building department. So in the middle of what the city itself calls a housing crisis, this problem has produced just 1 legally habitable unit in several years.
Thank you. Your time is up. But what you could do, sorry, I just turned my microphone off. I see that you're reading from there.
Yes.
If you could send that in an email, we could share it with everybody.
I hope you read it. I will.
Yeah.
I will.
We
I
will,
definitely
we
will.
always read
Thank
the
you.
emails, comments from the public. So if you could do
Okay,
that, and that goes to anybody in the room who still has more to say after the 3 minutes.
It's crazy.
And then can you tell me
Okay.
where ward number you're in?
Oh, I'm in Midtown, Ward 4, I
Okay.
believe. Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
And you did good. I know you were nervous, but you did good.
Yes. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Amanda Treasure.
Good evening. I know you all know who I am, but I'm Amanda Treasure from Stony Run Apartments, Ward 1. I'm calling to have you guys, have the mayor to stop trying to sue the state because I already have people that have had to vacate Stony Run already, even being under the ETPA. And if it's taken away, then there's going to be a lot more people that are going to have to vacate there. And that's going to include me. And I feel bad with Raquel with the stuff she has to go through and the stuff that I've been going through. And the only thing that's ever on my mind is, am I going to have a roof over my head? You know, which when you're sick, especially with cancer, you shouldn't have to be worrying about that kind of stuff. You should be worrying about having to heal and get better, you know, and it's a journey that's tough. And I still have issues from having the surgery that I've had from the cancer. And I'm unable to go back to work. And it's just crazy. And I don't understand why he wants to do the workforce housing, because that's a place that I could not afford if he did that. We need to keep the ETPA, and it's just a fight, and he does not need to be suing the state of New York. It's just crazy. You know, we hired you to take care of us in all these neighborhoods, and I think that everybody should be entitled to ETPA. It should not be just Stony Run or big units. It needs to be all the units out there, because people shouldn't have to be working 2 or 3 jobs just to be able to live and have a roof over your head and food on your table. It's just crazy. And I appreciate you guys always listening to us, because we're here all the time with this, and it's just getting old. And I really wish that we could get to the bottom of it and just keep ETPA, because like everybody said, this community is a community of renters. There's not even a lot of places to be able to buy if you wanted to have a home. So, you know, the mayor just needs to stop what he's doing and leave ETPA in play. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Teresa Green.
Hi, Teresa Green, First Ward, Stony Run Tenant Union leader. Everything that June was talking about when he was up here, you know, I was a part of all of that. And I remember the meeting here in this chamber where the mayor addressed the Stony Run tenants. It was just a meeting that he called just for Stony Run tenants. And all of the meetings that I've had, I've sat with the owners, Acre, and with the mayor. You know, I'm not a stenographer. I just record because we didn't have a secretary. And I go back listening, you know, now that I'm hearing, you know, reading his newsletter when he's like, people are lying on him and everything. And I hear his voice and his promises of all the things that he said would be good for us at Stony Run. And it's just workforce affordable housing is the worst thing that ever happened to Stony Run. And I hope that no other landlord takes on these terrible regulatory agreements, because it is a backdoor to ending rent stabilization altogether. Ironically, recently, the board that was created by the mayor through that regulatory agreement, his MOA, I sat on that board. I was a member on that board along with Austin Farrell, and now Austin was elected again a second term, and Amanda Treasure is also on that board. And ironically, the very board member has moved out of Stony Run 2 weeks ago because he can't afford to live there. These are the situations that are happening. And it was hard for him to find work. He did come in after the regulatory agreement, so he was considered workforce affordable housing, so he had a higher rent, and he was working in Newburgh, and he was making $80,000 a year, so he was able to afford it. But when that job went away, he couldn't even find a job in Kingston where he could make enough money to stay. So he moved out 2 weeks ago. He's no longer on the board, back in Newburgh. So this is a real serious situation, and I'm just really thankful, because for a minute there, I couldn't figure out how we were going to deal with this
30
lawsuit.
seconds.
And I want to thank the Common Council for this memorializing resolution that is happening tonight, because this is important and it's all wrong. It's going against everything that he told us. And please keep fighting for us. We appreciate you, every one of you.
Thank you. That is all that we have signed up, and we don't have anybody signed up through Zoom. Is there anyone who has not spoken who would like to? Jenna and then Chelsea.
Good evening, Common Council. My name is Jenna Goldstein. I am the Ulster County Organizer at For the Many. I want to thank you all for listening to us month after month. Thank you for voting to extend the very real housing emergency and for the moral resolutions you all pass. The fact is that landlords will never solve the housing crisis because they benefit greatly when there are too few apartments for too many tenants. The mayor should be ashamed that he is suing DHCR for their rightful decision to not deregulate Stony Run. Now, I don't know what Acre has given Mayor Noble, but I encourage you all to vote to drop this frivolous lawsuit and stop weaponizing the courts against tenants. Tenants are your constituents. They vote. Out-of-town landlords do not vote for you. I hope you remember who you work for. The mayor seems to have forgotten, but I have faith in you all. Please don't let us down. This regulatory agreement is nothing more than a backdoor solution to ending rent stabilization for all Kingston tenants. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Chelsea, you want?
Hey, everybody. I didn't think I was going to make it, so I'm just going to read what I sent to the council by email earlier today. Buenas tardes, everybody. So I support Resolution 15 of 2026. Stony Run tenants should be protected by ETPA. All tenants should be, really. We have all heard our neighbors at 305 Hurley come out to public comment time and again, with many literally crying into this microphone as they plead to keep their homes. Additionally, many tenants have expressed living in uncomfortable, unsafe, or uninhabitable situations. Stony Run has enough code violations to fix before the owners can think of raising rents. Look at the snow outside. There are still houseless neighbors out there or in the warming center, even if we don't see them. Our focus should be decreasing houselessness, not increasing it by prioritizing profit from rent-burdened people. Almost nothing we pay for becomes more expensive with age, unless it is luxury or vintage, for example, wine or collectibles. Housing is a necessity, not a luxury, and it should not be priced as such. This is a new year. This is a new council. We are living in a new reality of abductions, exploitations, and street executions, regardless of who we are or what we look like. We resist fascism with an unshakable commitment to protecting each other. That can look like strong housing protections for all. We win against tyranny with courage and innovation. I believe in all of you to be courageous and innovative in your service. Also reminding you how important bus shelters are. City folk don't have personal vehicles because New York City often don't have personal vehicles because the public transportation in the city is so robust. So if we make taking the bus around here to hot business hubs more appealing, people are likely to use the buses more, which is greener and safer because you don't have to have a designated driver. So please get us these bus shelters. And more specifically, I just want to thank the sponsors and the co-sponsors of this resolution. I'm incredibly proud and grateful to you, my councilwoman. So thank you all, and thanks for taking a stand for what's right.
Thank you. Leah, did you?
Good evening, everybody. I'm Leah Wesselman, Ward 9. I just wanted to talk for a second about trust. How does a mayor go about making a decision to file a lawsuit against DHCR behind the backs of the Common Council? Who helped him make those decisions? Who stands behind those decisions? It's enraging to me. Do we trust a mayor who goes behind the back of the Common Council, who serve the people of this city? Steve Noble, rescind this lawsuit. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Good evening. Hi, my name is Bernadette Dawsonville.
Can
from
you talk
6
into the microphone a little bit more, please?
Bernadette Dawsonville from 622 Delaware Avenue in Kingston. Hi, I just want to say thank you to all of you. I know it haven't been easy to come here, and it really, I've been thinking about it the week of the holiday when you all come here together at the last minute to get together just to listen to our complaints and everything. I know it haven't been easy. I wouldn't want to fit you guys' shoes. Thank you for doing it. But tonight, I just want to say thank you to my alderman, alderwoman, who's always listening. Whenever I give her a call, she always listens. And if she doesn't have the answer, she said, I'll get back to you. You guys are doing awesome. I know you guys don't just make the decision on your own. You have to collaborate together. It haven't been easy. I just want to say thank you for being here to listen to us. Thank you. Have a good night. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Anybody else who has not spoken who would like to? Seeing no one else, I will close the public speaking portion. So before we move on, we're actually going to take a 5-minute break. And during that time, if you would like to leave, you may, but I encourage you to stay because our majority leader will be giving her speech. And we'll be moving the podium, so it'll be kind of facing that way. So if the people in these two rows, especially in this aisle, yeah, you might want to move so Michelle's back isn't to you. You don't have to, but I told Michelle I would make that offer. Trying to figure out so she could still be on camera, but talking to you guys. So we'll take a 5-minute recess and be back. And then you can start showing them at the town hall. The batteries get, in fact, I got it. I saw a posting here from Billy saying, right now the New York City Tower said they were about why they run it. The posting was I think I gave out my last one, but I can write it. I'll write it. Yeah, you should.
So we're never gonna be on the stage again. That's a suck. Well, I gotta go back to school now. Oh, you were with Joe. Joe. You know. Yeah. Well, now the road is crazy. Oh, the other thing is, Bill, at all. So there's no way of
Council members, if you could find your seats, we're going to get started. Reconvening this meeting at 8:23. Hi, everybody. We're going to get started. So if you could find a seat or find your seats. At this time, I'm honored to welcome to the podium the Common Council Majority Leader, Alderwoman of Ward 9, my personal favorite ward, Alderwoman Michelle Hirsch, to deliver the 2026 Majority Leader speech.
Can you hear me? Okay. All right. Good evening, colleagues and members of the public. Thank you for coming out in the cold tonight. And thank you everyone who takes time to speak during public comment. In a moment when people feel unheard and democracy feels strained, showing up really matters, and you all do that so well. I'm honored to stand here as the new majority leader of the Kingston Common Council. I'm grateful to my colleagues for the trust they've placed in me. Together, we represent the voices of our constituents. We are the heartbeat of our community and the guiding force as policymakers for our city's future. Our goal is to make Kingston work better for everyone. This year, we welcome new members and fresh energy. And I'm excited to work with all of you, along with our council president, Andrea Schott, our city clerk, Elisa Kwame, and corporation counsel, Barbara Grace Poller, and Janet Higgins, who I've learned has worked here for 23 years. I want our council that leads to be a leader in humility and openness. I want our decisions to be calm, thoughtful, and deliberate to engender trust from the community. Last fall's ETPA hearing showed Kingston at its best, sharing vulnerable personal stories of hardships, rightful frustrations, and most of all, in-your-face facts into the same room to push the government to act. That's what local democracy looks like. And it starts with the basics. Language matters, listening matters. So let me say this clearly. We hear you. We hear you about affordability. We hear you regarding property taxes. We hear you regarding housing instability. We hear you about mental health and addiction. We hear you regarding homelessness. We hear you about traffic, reckless driving, and the fear people feel just trying to cross the street every day. These aren't abstract issues, they're daily life for all of us in Kingston, and we have to respond with real action. So here are a few priorities for this year. First, helping people stay in their homes. We will look at updating tax abatements, something we haven't done in a long time, to help seniors and people with disabilities on limited incomes below $50,000 a year. Presently, that income limit is $29,000 a year. We will be mindful of spending on any new endeavors brought forth to us that could potentially expand the city budget. Second, stronger tenant protections. We need to take a hard look at our building codes and landlord registry and make changes that improve conditions and enforcement. And we need to protect our right to counsel program by putting it on solid legal footing with dependable annual funding. If we believe people deserve a fair chance in housing court, we have to back that up. Third, housing that working people can actually afford. We all know housing and utility prices are far out of reach for too many residents. If we want Kingston to remain Kingston for families that have lived here for generations, we need housing policies that serve working families, not just what's easiest or most profitable to build. I support the mayor's goal of deeply affordable housing at 25 Field Court, and I look forward to the details. At the same time, the council should revisit our inclusionary zoning targets so they match the reality of local incomes. The true Kingston workforce who rent do not earn 80 to 120% AMI. We need housing that benefits Kingston residents, people like you and me, not the pockets of developers. And we need to stop expanding non-owner occupied short-term rentals. We have enough. We need housing for our neighbors, not visitors. Fourth, being careful with city assets, especially our municipal parking lots. In 2023, the council updated our zoning code and reduced parking minimums in new construction to encourage growth. That makes it even more important that we don't rush into selling or converting parking lots before we have a final parking study. People rely on these lots, especially in winter, as we saw this past week. Fifth, public safety that includes street safety. Vision Zero should be a living plan, not a document on a shelf. Any new revenue from school zone enforcement should go toward proven safety fixes, safer crossings, traffic calming, and street design that protects pedestrians, cyclists, and people with mobility challenges. 6, our environment. We have a new tree ordinance coming before us again because protecting our trees is crucial to fight climate change. We will be looking to pass some legislation pertaining to burn bans during times of increased fire risks. We're also doing the slow and necessary work of updating our code chapter by chapter, so our local laws are clear, current, and enforceable. And yes, we may finally retire some rules that clearly belong in another century. No more walking your pig down the street with a rope around its neck. As we all know, one of the most important projects ahead of us is the Charter Review Commission. Examining our charter is something we haven't done in decades. This matters because our charter shapes how Kingston governs, who has what power, how decisions get made, and how accountable government is to the people. The process should be open, educational, and community-driven, and it's a real opportunity to modernize how our city works. Finally, I want to speak to the fear and uncertainty that many residents are feeling right now about federal upheaval and immigration enforcement. People are anxious. Families are worried. And on the council, we feel the weight of wanting to keep people safe while choosing the right actions. The Common Council stands in solidarity with Minneapolis. Moving forward, we don't want to offer empty gestures, but we also won't be passive. We will support state and federal protections where we can with council sign-on letters instead of memorializing resolutions. And if there are local laws we can pass that make Kingston safer and fairer, we should pursue them. One practical step that I see that we can take now is improving communication and trust between law enforcement, city and county government, and the community organizations doing mutual aid and rapid response every day. Because these are our neighbors, they are part of the backbone of Kingston. We should take the opportunity to build trust before a crisis, not after. Before I close, I want to emphasize something important. Never discount people's commitment to their home place. Kingston is held together by residents who show up and keep pushing this city forward. They volunteer their time with numerous organizations. They stock food banks and free fridges. They answer calls for mutual aid and cook for residents in emergency shelters. They help organize tenants and let them know their rights. They serve long hours volunteering on our city boards and commissions. And I want to recognize all of our city workers and first responders who carry so much of the city on their shoulders. The Kingston Fire Department, the Kingston Police Department, the Department of Public Works, the Building and Safety Department, and Parks and Recreation. Even our parking enforcement employees who have helped get our streets cleaned up in collaboration with DPW this past week. Kingston has always been a place of resilience and reinvention. Our history is real, and so is our responsibility. The question now is, what do we do next and who do we build it for? As Majority Leader, I promise to lead with integrity, compassion, and steady effort. We will listen, we will ask hard questions, and we will all work together to make Kingston safer, fairer, and more livable for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. We're now entering into claims and communications. Hearing no discussion, they will be on file in the clerk's office. Can I get a motion to dispense with the second reading of the general bills and pay same? Motion by Sarah Pasty, second by Ben Folk. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is adopted 9-0. We're now entering into the report of committees, starting with resolution number 7, please.
Resolution 7 of 2026. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing a 2025 budget transfer in the Health and Wellness Department in the amount of $5,632 for end-of-year budget balancing.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 8, please.
Resolution 8 of 2026. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing a 2025 budget transfer in the Police Department in the amount of $417,500 to balance accounts.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 9, please.
Resolution 9 of 2026. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing a 2025 budget transfer in the Building Department in the amount of $4,046.92 to balance accounts.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 10, please.
Resolution 10 of 2026. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing a 2025 budget transfer in the Fire Department in the amount of $237,881 to balance accounts.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 11, please.
Resolution 11 of 2026, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing a 2025 budget transfer in the Fire Department in the amount of $52,876.36 to balance account.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 12, please.
Resolution 12 of 2026, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing a 2025 budget transfer in the Parks and Recreation Department in the amount of $39,483 to balance accounts.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 13, please.
Resolution 13 of 2026, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing a 2026 budget modification in the Parks and Recreation Department in the amount of $32,000 for the seasonal part-time rec leader position.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 14, please.
Resolution 14 of 2026, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing a 2025 budget transfer in the Planning Department in the amount of $17,686.89 to cover expenses associated with emergency repair work at the Volunteer Firemen's Museum at 265 Fair Street.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 15, please.
Resolution 15 of 2026, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, asking the mayor to discontinue the city's lawsuit against New York State.
On the question, Alderman Bob Dennison.
Madam President, I'm I'm going to vote for this resolution reluctantly. I'm not comfortable with the city not having a seat at the table, and I do not feel confident that having the landlord represent our position. I understand the importance of ETPA for Stony Run, and I support that, and I support the tenants there, but I'm worried.
Thank you. Anyone else? Alderman Michael Tierney, then Alderwoman Terrell Mickens, and then Sarah Passy.
Okay. Thank you, President Schott. Among the many benefits of ETPA, buildings subject to this regulation have a state watchdog. They can bring issues up. Tenants of ETPA buildings have a state watchdog that they can bring issues to in order to seek redress from their landlord. That's HCR. HCR has rightfully determined that Stony Run is subject to ETPA. Rather than accept that, the mayor has doubled down, now suing our state watchdog under spurious and false pretenses to remove them from ETPA protections. Even if we won this lawsuit, what would that accomplish? In my reading of HCR's original determination denying the city, they simply said that we cannot enter these BS regulatory agreements with ETPA buildings. Good. We shouldn't. We should be engaging buildings that are outside ETPA with real regulatory agreements, seeking real affordability. So what is this all for? Why does the mayor continue to go behind the backs of the council? We were never told that this lawsuit was happening. We've never approved it. In a time where we're facing budget shortages and increasing taxes, why are we wasting city staff time and tax dollars going down dead ends that the best case scenario that the mayor wants is that our neighbors, Amanda, Teresa, and Raquel, who come every single meeting demanding to be taken seriously, will be put out on the street. Why is that the path that the mayor wants to go down? I just simply do not understand it. I think that it is a frivolous lawsuit that again wastes city taxpayer dollars. I will be voting in favor of this, and I will be against any regulatory agreement for ETPA buildings. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderwoman Terrell Mickens.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I will be a firm yes on this resolution requesting that the mayor rescind the city's lawsuit against HCR. The council, what's particularly troubling is that the council only incidentally learned about the filing of this contradictory lawsuit, which is clearly at odds with the Common Council and therefore the city's public policy, which specifically calls for Stony Run to continue to be covered by ETPA. The New York State Office of Rent Administration ruled on that the Stony Run apartments were covered by ETPA, rejecting arguments that its designation as workforce housing or its nonprofit status exempts it from rent stabilization. I think that ruling was clear and not open to interpretation. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderwoman Sarah Passy.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to keep my statement short and sweet. I want to thank, first of all, the tenants who continue to show up and tell their stories. Thank you very much for your continued advocacy on behalf of your apartment complex. And I also want to thank my colleagues for their support of this resolution to continue ETPA for Stony Run. Thank you, everyone.
Anyone else? Seeing no one else, I will call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 16, please.
Resolution 16 of 2026, an ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to the traffic on the public streets of the city of Kingston, New York, adding handicap parking on Greenkill Avenue.
On the question, Alderwoman Terrell Mickens.
Yes, thank you. I would like to amend the resolution 16 to read, establish a handicap parking space on the east side corner of Pine Street, 25 feet from the corner of Greenkill Avenue.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second to make the amendment? Second by Alderwoman Michelle Hirsch. Any discussion on the amendment? Hearing no discussion, I will call in favor to amend the resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Elisa, can you reread that, please?
Resolution 16 of 2026, an ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to the traffic on the public streets of the city of Kingston, New York, adding handicap parking on the east side corner of Pine Street, 25 feet from the corner.
Thank you. On the question, hearing no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to Resolution 17, please.
Resolution 17 of 2026, an ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to the traffic on the public streets of the city of Kingston, New York, adding handicap parking on Elmendorf Street.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to Resolution number 18, please.
Resolution 18 of 2026, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the mayor to enter into a sales tax agreement with the County of Ulster.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to Resolution number 19, please.
Resolution 19 of 2026, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing settlement of tax certiorari proceedings for Rite Aid Corporation with RPTL Section 727 to apply to the 2024 and 2025 years.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to Resolution number 20, please.
Resolution 20 of 2026, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the mayor to enter into and execute Pike Plan legal settlement agreements for 53 North Front, 302 Wall, 42 North Front, and 40 North Front, and transfer funds for said settlements.
On the question, Alderwoman Terrell Mickens.
So consistent with, thank you, first of all, consistent with my prior no votes as it regards the demolition of the Pike Plan and the actions, any actions thereafter in settlement and legal settlement, I will be a no.
Thank you. Alderman Michael Tierney.
Thank you, President Schott. I'll be a yes on this resolution, but since we haven't had many other opportunities, I did want to take this to sort of eulogize the Pike Plan. I unapologetically love the Pike Plan. It is part of why I moved to Uptown Kingston. I did not have a car when I first moved here, and I believe the Pike Plan was an important piece of pedestrian infrastructure. I believe it was taken down shortly before it became the 50-year mark to become a historic landmark. Walking down the Pike Plan at night, it was kind of magical with the lights that Cuba, under their own dime, put on the Pike Plan. And I think that we've taken the opportunity to sort of sand one of the edges off of what made our city special. And in the last couple weeks, Uptown Kingston has taken a couple punches. But I know that we will, and I hope that we as a Common Council, as the mayor, as the businesses, and as the customers and the residents will come together and have a serious conversation about what Uptown Kingston looks like for the next 50 years. And hopefully we can have that be a public conversation that everybody can be a part of. And I'm confident that we can make that happen. So I'll be sad to see it go, but I'm excited to see what's next. I'll be voting yes.
Thank you. Anyone else on the question? Hearing no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No, yes.
Opposed. Motion, yeah, it's always awkward. What do you say? Resolution is adopted 8-1. The dissent is Alderwoman Mickens. Resolution 21, please.
Resolution 21 of 2026, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, amending Article 2, Section 172-16C1 of the Code of the City of Kingston.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 22, please.
Resolution 22 of 2026, Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, recommending the appointment of Manny Scartatos to the Board of Assessment Review.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to Resolution 23, please.
Resolution 23 of 2026. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, recommending the appointment of Corinne Thomas to the Board of Assessment Review.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to Resolution number 24, please.
Resolution 24 of 2026. An ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, amending Chapter 172-5I of the Code of the City of Kingston relating to the issuance of building permits.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. That concludes our communications. Before I open it up to anybody who has memorials, just a little message before we leave. At a time when there is overwhelming darkness in our country, I want to highlight how compassionate many of Kingston's small businesses are. In particular, last week, many participated in their own way in a national shutdown. My Instagram was full of announcements from our small businesses that although they were unable to shut their businesses down due to financial constraints, they were still donating some of their profits to the Ulster Immigrant Defense Network in solidarity and support. Although not surprising, knowing Kingston businesses and Kingston residents, it was wonderful to see the compassion in our community. As this winter takes its toll on us all, including the small businesses, and what Alderman Tierney also alluded, Uptown has taken a few hits today and the last couple of weeks. I ask that if you are able, please consider supporting our small businesses a little extra this month to help them get through the winter. I think it would go a long way, and they do a lot for our residents. So grab a sandwich or a bagel or a hat from Bluebirds. Just see if you can, please do support. And before we adjourn, does anybody have anybody that they would like to close in memory of? Alderman Bob Dennison, and then
I'd like to close in memory of Big Joe Fitzpatrick, who died 2 weeks ago. He was a fixture in town. He was on the radio for 25 years with his blues break. Joe was the Lo-Fi's was his band. He was a social worker in his profession, and placed lots of kids in foster homes. He was truly a great guy and a honorable guy, and I would like to close in his memory.
thank you, Alderman Mashursh.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to close in memory of Christopher Dale Cooper, who passed away here in Kingston on January 2nd at the age of 63. Chris Cooper was actually one of our Kingston letter carriers for the post office and a neighbor. And I believe that he actually was the letter carrier here to the City of Kingston City Hall. So I'd just like to close in his honor. Thank you.
Thank you. I did see that. He was my letter carrier, and he was always a joy to talk to. So thank you. Anyone else? Alderwoman Sarah Pasty.
Yes, I would like to close in memory of Stephen Miich of Lafayette Avenue, who died unexpectedly on Sunday, January 18th at the age of 69 at Health Alliance Hospital. He was born in Huntington, Long Island on December 20th, 1956, the son of the late Valentine Miich and Marie Miich Smith. He was employed as a recreational therapist for New York State Office of Family and Children's Services, where he retired after 30 years. He was an outdoor and a sports enthusiast who enjoyed fishing, golf, and skiing. He was also an avid antique bottle collector, and he enjoyed being a referee for local basketball games. He survived by his wife of 39 years, Michael Miich, brothers Val and Paul, and a sister, Patty Egan, and her husband, Bill. Many nieces, nephews, cousins, and in-laws also survive.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing no one else, I will take a motion to adjourn. Motion by Michelle Hirsch,
Second?
second. All in favor?
Aye.
We hereby stand adjourned until the next regularly scheduled meeting on Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026 at 7:30 PM. Thank you, everyone. Have a